Thank you, Secretary Mandarino. I know it's been a long morning, but I want to focus a little bit. You've mentioned several times that you have the utmost confidence at every level of management within your department, and I respect that. But I guess I wonder also for the boots on the ground, the folks in the call centers, those who are still valiantly, trying to get through this, those who have been furloughed. When they have issues, when they see things that are not working, when they see, look, this system's not going to happen, we got problems, are they able, do you feel confident right now that their concerns are really able to get through all of that management and get to you?
In the last, I had the sad opportunity to address all of my my colleagues, my workers who were being laid off, and then after the layoffs, I went out and met with all of the workers who are still working in our call centers. And we talked literally not only as a group for a while, but I walked around one-on-one and talked with every one of those employees. I encouraged them to be both bottom-up, and I will be top-down in terms of suggestions of how to make sure the system is running effectively. I reiterated that with all of the supervisors and the site administrators that I worked with as well. We even came up with a few additional new solutions and ideas during the last couple of months. There are times that folks will want us to do something that I would love to be able to do, but this system won't let me be able to do. And so there's sometimes, I think, there might be a little bit of a miscommunication where somebody said, well, if they just change the way they ask this question that was the biggest one I got. If you just change the way you ask this question on the screen, it wouldn't create as much need. And that is where I get really handicapped, because I get stuck in this what happens in that far left and this green screen and what it can or can't get in terms of information and communication back to the database. But other than that, I really do think we have an effective top-down, bottom-up kind of circle communication.
Okay, so now let's talk about the furlough itself. You know, obviously this affected many of our constituents. Again, not just the ones who are calling to get unemployment, but the ones who are now unemployed. How is the decision reached? Take me through the process and this committee through the process. Why Altoona? Why Allentown? Why Lancaster? Was this I mean, there had to be reasoning. I assume this wasn't darts at a dartboard. So help me understand where we came to those decisions as to which call centers to close and why.
Were you listening to me yesterday? Because quite frankly, I said to a certain extent, it could have just as easily been darts at the dartboard, and here's why. Every single one of my service centers were performing as expected. They were all doing a yeoman's job, and I had to tell them that they were all, those that were losing their job were losing the job through no fault of their own. We had made tremendous progress, as I showed you, in 2 years in terms of performance standards, and every one of our centers had made significant improvement, significant specialization, contributed to the ideas that became the process improvements that you saw. I took into consideration a whole bunch of factors. We do have what I'll call a friendly competition. We're very transparent. All of our call centers kind of know what their stats are for every month in terms of what their performance is. We looked at those. I had hard infrastructure costs. I have all different kinds of leases for those call centers, and 2 of them in properties that I owned. And so we talked about if we reduce infrastructure costs, that meant we had to reduce less bodies. If we kept all of our infrastructure costs and just reduced bodies, I had to reduce even more bodies. We looked at each site and what their infrastructure costs were. We thought about, should we eliminate all of the most costly ones, or should we have a combination of private leases and those that we held? Because I really did believe that when we saw what this system looked like operating only on federal dollars, people would really want to find a solution. And if I was going to find a solution, it would be easiest for me to get back up and running if I didn't get out of all of my private leases and then have nowhere else to put bodies. So then a factor that came into consideration became making sure that one of the facilities was one that we owned and we could immediately unlock the doors and get it back open. I looked at things like which side of the states were the UC centers located on, and should I balance that out? I looked at what the unemployment rate was in the region where my laid-off employees were going to be, and say, how easy, if I can't bring them back, is it going to be for them to find a job or not find a job? And in the end, it was literally just the combination of those factors that seemed to make the numbers work, so that I can keep as many bodies working as I can and still find $57 million worth of savings.
All right. Well, I know we've had a lot of questions this morning. I'm sure I will continue to have some questions. We'll be in contact with the department as we speak to folks at every level of management. I guess I'll close. Thank the chairman for doing this, but it's a big department, and I don't know that everyone in this building nor in that building shares the same confidence that you do across the board. I respect the fact that you're defending your people. That's an admirable trait, but I do think we need to look at our management structure and what might need to be changed moving forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.